Boxing Truth here. Saw a funny ass interview by PBC fanboy Nez of the Boxing Voice, who did an interview with the manager of Erislandy Lara, Louis DeCubas Jr., as he confirmed in the interview that Tom Loeffler, Team Golovkin, have reached out to the Haymon people, to see if any of the Haymon guys at around of the middleweight division, Golovkin's weight class, would be interested to fight Golovkin as a prospective opponent later this year. If all goes well with Golovkin for his next assignment, September 10th assignment against Kell Brook in the UK. Now it's Loeffler's job to always look ahead at what's next, what's possibilities of opponents out there for Golovkin, get a gauge on what interest is out there to see if anyone's willing to step in the ring with Gennady, to see if he can get a good idea of any prospective opponents later this year, as Gennady's looking to get one more fight this year before the year is up in 2016, if all goes well, of course, against Kell Brook. Now, there's been a long debate about this. Lara Golovkin. For some strange reason, dumbass fanboys of the PBC, Triple G haters, Lara dick riders, they actually think Lara poses a threat to Golovkin, even though Lara's team have never initiated any type of contact or have never even tried to negotiate with Gennady's team for a possible fight. All they do is call out Golovkin to try to promote Lara's next fight, because he's got no fan base and can't even sell out racetracks in Miami. And he'll call out Golovkin and mostly fight no-hopers, hand-picked opponents, guys that he can't even knock out or blow away, can't even look good against. But there's been a long-going debate on why this fight's not happening, and the number one main reason is the money. The issue is, what is Lara's asking price for this bout? And Louis DeCubas pretty much put it out there on what's going to take for this fight to be made, and it has to do with the money. But Louis DeCubas made himself look like he doesn't know shit about the boxing business. He was talking about Lara's purses for what he got against those faded guys that he fought. After he called out Golovkin, he'll fight a Delvin Rodriguez and a John Zavok. And yes, Lara got $1 million to fight Delvin Rodriguez. He got I think the same amount of purse, around 7 figures, to fight John Zavok. But what PBC fanboys need to realize, or uneducated boxing fans need to realize, Lara got those purses not because of his market value. He got those purses because of a hedge fund Haymon borrowed from Wilder and Reed. He used that hedge fund's money to pay Lara's purse ever since the PBC debuted, and he saw these purses that some of these guys were getting, and you would figure it doesn't add up, because these guys don't do great ratings, they're not selling out venues, and none of the networks being featured in are providing any license fees for these fights. It's all coming from a hedge fund. But now the PBC money is running dry. The war chest is running dry, and you can see it by the purses that have been coming out from PBC fighters lately. They're not getting as much as before, especially some of the guys that are not as high on the ladder when it comes to Al Haymon clients. Erislandy Lara, he got a $700,000 purse for his last fight against Vanes Martirosyan, where he got a gift decision, but yet he's still in a position to possibly get a big fight in the future. He got a pay cut to fight a tougher fighter, a rematch against Vanes Martirosyan. But is he willing to take the same type of money to fight a Gennady Golovkin? And as DeCubas stated in that interview, no, he's not willing to fight Golovkin for the same amount he got against John Zavok, for the same amount he got against Canelo, a cool $1 million. So it's going to take money for Lara, because he wants a big payday to cash out, because he knows he'll get his ass whooped by Golovkin in order to step in the ring with him. He'll call him out all he wants, but yet he wants a certain type of a purse in order to step into the ring. And he wants a career high purse, more than $1 million. And DeCubas was talking about $5 million. I mean, Eubank, Kell Brook are getting around $5 million to fight Golovkin, but this is where DeCubas makes himself look bad. There's a reason why Eubank and Kell Brook were getting those type of terms to fight Golovkin. And it's because of the UK market. Those guys have fan bases, and if they bring a fighter, a pound-for-pound fighter like Golovkin over across the pond to fight them in the UK, it will do big business because people will buy tickets, it will be a sellout, and it will do huge numbers on the UK pay-per-view. That's why those guys are getting guaranteed money of around $5 million to fight Gennady Golovkin because of the market value in the UK. The UK supports their fighters. It's not like here, like it's not the same thing in America. There's only a handful of ticket sellers in America, and a lot of the promoters make their money from TV, not from the gates, because not many fighters can sell out arenas in the United States. It's only a handful of fighters in boxing right now in the United States that can do that. So the majority of the proceeds for promoters in the U.S. they get from the TV money. But that is the problem for a Gennady Golovkin Lara fight to be made. It's because of the market. Is there enough money in the pot in order to satisfy Team Lara in order to take the fight? A fight they know they'll most likely get their asses whipped in. The thing is, for this fight to be made, Lara's going to want at least $2 million. But how's that going to happen? He can't even sell out venues. He can't even sell out a racetrack in Miami. People are giving out free tickets just to come watch him fight. Yeah, he's fought better competition than Kell Brook. He's a bigger fighter than Kell Brook. But Kell Brook's name is a lot bigger in the UK than anything Lara's done in the United States. Then Lara, yeah, he's more known in the United States, but he's a TV fighter. He doesn't really bring the economic value in order to get that type of purse. So he's going to be given a purse that he most likely will turn down because it's not career-changing money. That's what's gonna happen. The Kubas and Lara are gonna price themselves out. They're gonna expect a certain demand for this fight, but yet in order for Lara to get even more than $1 million, this fight would have to be on pay-per-view. And that's the problem. There's not enough room on the HBO schedule to put another pay-per-view, as HBO is currently going through a situation with Pacquiao's next fight and the Kovalev Ward fight. They're pretty much 2 weeks apart on pay-per-view in November. The issue is Ward Kovalev going to move, or are they actually going to have the two same pay-per-views in 1 month, which is not good business for either promoter. In the case of Bob Arum with Pacquiao and main events, and Rock Nation for Ward and Kovalev. So one of those guys may have to move that date, and most likely it will be Ward Kovalev, and it may have to be moved to December. So Lara, he's going to want at least $2 million for this fight, since he's getting $1 million to fight no-hopers, even though he's not getting that type of money anymore. In his last fight, he got $700K. to fight Matarosa in the rematch. So he might get the same exact purse unless this fight goes on pay-per-view, which is no guarantee will do great numbers. No guarantee a Lara Golovkin fight will do more numbers than Golovkin Lemieux. So the Kubas and Lara have to understand that the UK market is different compared to the U.S. I mean, the UK, they support their fighters. They buy the pay-per-views. They buy tickets. Here in America, Golovkin can sell out arenas fighting anybody. But he's the A side in this equation. He's the one that's providing the economic muscle. He's the one that is putting asses in the seats. And the regular HBO TV license fee is not going to fulfill what Erislandy Lara's team is looking for a potential Golovkin fight. So maybe that fight won't happen next. Maybe it will happen next year, since they will have to put that fight on pay-per-view for Lara to take the fucking fight. And maybe he will get a guarantee which is comfortable enough for him, and maybe a pay-per-view upside where he'd be willing to take an ass whooping for Golovkin for life-changing money. But that's the thing, man. I don't know how these guys expect to get $5 million to fight Golovkin when Golovkin himself is not the biggest pay-per-view star. Yeah, he's selling out arenas, but he's not doing $10 million gates. He's not doing $8 million gates. The market is not there yet. Golovkin is still not at that level where he can pay his opponents that type of guarantees, especially in the U.S. market where the market is down. I mean, there's not many ticket sellers in the U.S. Pay-per-view market is also down. So where the hell is Lara and Takuba's expected to get these type of paydays of a $5 million against Golovkin? It's not going to happen. The most he'll get is $1.5 million, and the fight will have to be on pay-per-view in order for Lara to get that type of guaranteed purse. You'll take short money. You'll take a pay cut to fight a tougher fight against Martirosyan because Al Haymon told you to. But when it comes to Golovkin, you want life-changing money. Even though you haven't made more than $1 million in your career, you've never been on pay-per-view, you don't sell out arenas, and you can barely get people to come buy tickets to watch you fight. So what do you expect to make in a Golovkin fight? But that's the thing. I mean, I just want to see this fight so I don't have to hear this bullshit debate of who's ducking who's not willing to make the fight. That Erislandy Lara is actually a threat from these dumbass PBC fanboys and Triple G haters. Tom, do whatever you can to make this fucking fight. End this freaking bullshit debate. This fight that's not even that. It's not going to be like the most exciting fight in the world. Lara's going to run. He's going to be running his ass off. He's going to be on his bicycle, but it won't matter. Golovkin will cut the ring off and chop him down and knock him the fuck out. Probably within 8 rounds. Lara don't got the arsenal to beat Golovkin. He's not that good of enough boxer. He's pretty basic. He can run around the ring, but he has only a jab and a left hand in his arsenal. And his left hand can be easily taken away, and he's in trouble. Can't do nothing to you. Can't do no damage to you. Easy work for Golovkin. But the Triple G haters want to see it. They want to see it to believe it. But it's going to take a lot of money for Lara to step into the ring against Golovkin. And the market right now is not there for what Takuba's feels Lara deserves for a Golovkin fight. But there was one thing I did agree about Takuba's in that fight. In that interview. And it was about certain boxing media, certain writers who praise only certain fighters when they administer the same type of style, the same type of boredom that this style could produce in a fight. This running like a bitch style, keeping away and playing tag with your opponents. I agree. There's a certain writer who will say Rigo is boring, Lara is boring as hell, but I enjoy watching Floyd Mayweather fight. I know, I shake my head whenever I see this writer write that shit. What's the fucking difference? Floyd Mayweather is just as boring as Rigo, just as boring as Lara, just as boring as Terrence Crawford was the other night. Like in his fights against Berto, against Pacquiao, in a whole multitude of fights, Guerrero, Maidana in the rematch. Fighting like a bitch is fighting like a bitch. And just because you want access to that fighter shouldn't change your opinion on that type of style when it's administered. Floyd Mayweather's fights, Terrence Crawford's fight last Saturday night was just as boring as some of the shittier Lara fights and Rigo fights in their careers. Doubt this fight happens next if Golovkin gets past his assignment, since there's just not enough money in the pot I don't think there's a pay-per-view date available for later in the year. I think everything's filled up in the schedule for HBO. So that fight will have to wait till next year. Maybe Jacobs will be interested, but he's going to want a certain type of money. That's the thing. These guys just want life-changing money, $4 or $5 million to get their asses whooped by Golovkin. And right now it's not there. But at least there's preliminary discussions. At least Haymon is reaching out to see if there's interest. But right now, these guys just want too much money to get their asses whooped by Gennady Golovkin. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.